One, you need to demonstrate with your answer that you understand what the job is, right? So what are the roles and responsibilities of an analyst or an associate or whatever level you're interviewing for, and why does that excite you, right? What are you looking to get out of this job? Hey guys, if you like the content on this episode today, I want you to click the subscribe button to make sure that you get all of our future episodes as well, because we're putting out these episodes multiple times a week to make sure that we help you get into investment banking. Okay. Today, I want to talk about the 3 guaranteed questions that you're going to get in your investment banking interviews. Okay. These questions come up in almost every single interview, no matter what bank you're interviewing with. So they're also probably the most important questions that you have to get right. Okay. So let's dive into what these are. The first one is, tell me about yourself, or sometimes they say, walk me through your resume. These are kind of one and the same, right? So with this question, what you want to make sure you do is, one, give them something memorable about yourself to remember you by. Okay, what I mean by that is most of the time these interviewers are interviewing a lot of candidates, usually even on the same day, right? They'll block off an entire day to interview a lot of people, and so after a while, like if you imagine they talk to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candidates in a day, sometimes even, it kind of all blurs together, right? And so if you don't have something unique about yourself that they can remember you by, that's not going to be good for your chances, right? So the second thing is, make sure that you explain how you became interested in finance in the first place, right? Like a lot of times they want to understand what your motivations are, right? And so if you say you want to do investment banking, they need to understand, kind of what sparked your interest, right? And then more importantly, once your interest in finance started, you need to demonstrate the progression that you made to turn yourself into a better candidate over time, right? So once you realize you became interested in finance, what were all the steps that you took between from that point until now, where you're sitting in front of them trying to get them to give you a job, right? So whether that's certain internships that you did or certain extracurricular activities you got involved in, everything needs to have like a logical progression. You need to explain and help them understand how you got from point A to point B to point C to point D, and have transitions going from one point to the next. Okay. So those are some quick tips on that first question. The second guaranteed question that you're going to get is, why are you interested in investment banking, right? Sometimes this might be part of the first question that we just answered, but sometimes, if you don't go too deep into it, and you don't have to, right? You should touch on it at a minimum, but sometimes if they want to go into more detail and understand your motivations better, they might ask you this as a separate question, depending on how you answer the first question. Okay, so if they ask you why you're interested in investment banking, a couple of things here to keep in mind. One, you need to demonstrate with your answer that you understand what the job is, right? So what are the roles and responsibilities of an analyst or an associate or whatever level you're interviewing for, and why does that excite you, right? What are you looking to get out of this job, right? Now, when I say why does that excite you or what are you looking to get out of this job, make sure you're not talking about things like prestige or money or the exit opportunities, even though I know that, hey, those are the real reasons for a lot of you for why you want to do banking, and that's totally fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not something that you want to talk about in an interview setting. Okay. Now, when it comes to why you're interested in investment banking, a lot of people are going to have very, very similar answers, right? They're going to talk about, oh, because it's such a good learning opportunity, I don't get to work with really smart people, and yada yada, right? Now, extra credit if you can tie your reasons back to something personal that happened to you, right? So, for example, we've had students that we've worked with where maybe their parents run a business, and their parents' business went through an acquisition, right, where they acquired another business, or their parents' business got acquired by someone else's business, and then that somehow impacted their family, whether it's in a positive way or a negative way or whatever. But like, that's a very unique and personal story, right? Not everyone has that, obviously, but like if there's something that happened to you in the past and you can kind of like use that and tie it back to why you're interested in banking, then that can make your answer a lot stronger and a lot more unique, okay, and less cookie cutter, right? The third guaranteed question that you guys will most definitely get is, why do you want to work for our bank specifically, right? Because now if they know that you're interested in banking and they're convinced that you have good reasons for wanting to do that, then that begs the next question, which is, hey, there's so many investment banks out there. They all kind of do very similar things. So why do you want to work for our bank, right? And so this is a lot more credible if you've actually spoken to people at the firm. Okay, so this is part of the reason why networking is so important. Like, yes, when you network, ultimately you're hoping to get the referral from the interview, but also a secondary reason for your networking is because you want to be able to speak credibly about why you're interested in their firm, right? And you can't credibly be interested in their firm if you haven't even spoken to anyone from the firm, right? So make sure you're doing your networking, and then try to really discuss what makes the firm unique whenever possible, right? Now, this depends on the firm that you're interviewing with. So, your why our bank answer is going to have to be customized for every single bank that you end up interviewing with, right? It's going to require you to do some research on the firm and what makes them unique. What competitive advantages do they have? What are they good at, right? Maybe they're really, really good in a certain area, and that's the area that you're interested in, right? Or like something about their team, where the way their team is structured, or the way they staff, or the way analysts are assigned responsibilities, like whatever it may be. A lot of this stuff, honestly, you're not going to find just by going on their website or something. Again, you have to talk to the people there, right? And then that brings me to kind of like my last point on this, which is, don't just use the cliche buzzwords that you find on a bank's website. Like, don't just go to their website and look up like, oh, these are our core values, and I want to work for your bank because you guys are really big on client service and teamwork, and I don't know what else, like diversity, and like all the buzzwords that banks like to throw out there. The reason why like those aren't the best reasons is because literally, if you go to every single bank's websites, they will all have very similar sounding buzzwords, right? So as an interviewer, if you tell me that those are the reasons why you want to work for my bank, my natural follow-up question is like, well, doesn't every bank say that? Or like, doesn't that, okay, I work at Goldman Sachs, but you're saying that's why you want to work for us, but doesn't Morgan Stanley do that as well? Doesn't JP Morgan do that as well? And so it's just not it's a lazy answer, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I get it. You looked at our website, but so what, right? And so those are some things to keep in mind. Again, these are probably the three most important behavioral questions that you're going to run into, because they're the most likely to show up in your interview. They're almost guaranteed, unless you have a purely technical interview because you've already had a behavioral interview. But if you have an interview where they're asking behavioral questions, these are almost certainly going to be the first 2 or 3 questions that they ask you. And so nailing these questions will also ensure that you're establishing a good first impression, and getting these wrong will get you off on the wrong foot, and it'll be really, really hard to come back from. Okay, so anyway, hopefully that helps you guys, and that'll be it for today. Hey there, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're looking for more customized advice that's tailored for your specific situation, then I invite you to book a free strategy session with our team at the link below. We'll talk to you soon.